Hello and welcome to Start the Beat with Sykes. My name is Sykes and this is my podcast. Before we get started, I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank everyone who checked out the last episode. If you're one of those people, I hope you enjoyed the conversation and thanks so much for coming back. But for everyone out there who's new to the show, welcome. Feel free to make yourselves at home. And as always, there's beer, soda, water, coffee in the fridge. Cheers to everyone out there on the internet. So, for anybody that isn't familiar with the Heroineburgh series, which one of you two wants to just give like a brief rundown of what Heroineburgh is in general?
I was going to say we can rock, paper, scissors for it. But...
All right. Well, I mean, it's up to you.
Okay, I'll get it. Okay, so basically what it is it's this live action web series about all of these superheroines and supervillainesses who are given their superpowers by a meteor that, you know, happens to be going over Pittsburgh, and it only affects women in Pittsburgh. So it's very specific both to the city as well as very specifically for female based. We're superheroes, we're villainesses, we're or a bunch of girls who really know how to kick butt too. So
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, as far as both of you are concerned, I guess we'll start with Mauricia since you were just telling us. How did you get involved in Heroineburgh?
Oh my gosh, it was like it was just a complete fluke. It was off of Facebook, and whenever I saw the ad, so to speak, I saw it, and the first thing I went through my mind was, okay, well that's kind of cool. Like, I didn't know a whole lot about either the story or the character at that time. I just was like, it was a female superhero show, and I was like, well, it was being shot, in Pittsburgh, and so I thought to myself, oh wow, okay, that's cool. Anyhow, I contacted Heroineburgh, and what transpired was that I learned more about this, and the more I learned about it, the cooler it just became, because it's fun, it's camp, it's and at the end of the day, I'm an effing superhero. Like, who's gonna turn that down?
Absolutely. So, prior to reaching out to Heroineburgh, did you have other experience as an actress? Or was this like on a whim? Like, I just want to do something wild.
Both.
Okay.
Yeah. Like,
Tight.
all the above. No, like, I have some experience mainly in theater. And I did work with some short films and everything in college. And I also wrote quite a few plays. So I was comfortable both being the center in the action, and as well as being behind the scenes, doing the work and things like that. So yeah, I had some experience, but it had been a long time since I'd really done anything besides like voice acting. And yeah, and then I lucked out and found this, and it's just been off to the races ever since.
Awesome. Now, Jocelyn,
Yes.
let's get your origin story in regards to how you became involved in this wild world.
Okay, so mine was very different. I did not find it on Facebook. I didn't find it through like anyone other than another character or another actress that is in the show. She plays Scintilla, and she and I have been really good friends for a few years. I met her through burlesque. And basically one day she hit me up and she was like, hey, you want to be a supervillain? I was like, fuck yes. I've been waiting my whole life for someone to ask me this question.
Uh-huh.
What do I have to do?
Yeah.
So I reached, she gave me the number for Heroineburgh. I reached out and I was just like, so can you give me a little bit more information? And he told me all about it. And I was like, yes. So not only is it all like about women and like it's so like cool and campy, because like I grew up watching like like all the fun like 90s superhero shows and stuff like that. So I was like, oh my god, this is beautiful. I get to be the baddie. And yeah, it's been so freaking fun ever since. Like just like doing the voice and like being like in the costume and just meeting so many awesome new people that I did not get a chance to know previously, just because like the different things that I do take me like it's very closed circle, as much as I would love for it to be more so. But like, if you're in that niche, then you're in that niche. If you're not, then you don't know.
Yeah.
But that's how I got into it, and it was an absolute ball. I was super geeked about it from day one, though. Like,
That's awesome.
absolutely.
Now, your background prior to recording, we talked a bit about your interest in a lot of things. You have a lot of interest and you do a lot. You're a very busy individual. So, but in terms of like acting and being on camera, how much experience did you have with that prior to being involved with Heroineburgh?
I want to say actually not a lot. Like, I'm not all that experienced. I mean, like, I worked at like a couple of haunted houses for a few years. I worked at one over in the Strip District. And from there, the man who designed the whole thing was like, hey, do you want to be in this movie that I'm doing? And I was like, well, what's it about? Turns out it's basically like still like, it was about like these witches in a coven that ate men to stay young and powerful. As you can see, I have a theme.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
And I got to be in that movie, and I've been like in a couple of different ones with a really good friend of mine, where I've gotten to like travel and do like little like be like very like independent horror movies. But other than that, nothing else really. I mean, other than like, I don't know, the occasional voice acting for like friends of mine, but it's very rare.
Yeah. So, this was in some ways familiar for the both of you, but also outside of the box in a lot of ways from what both of you are used to. Now, Mauricia, what have you learned about yourself that playing this character? Have you discovered anything about yourself?
I can take an ass kicking. I've discovered that for certain. Yeah. I can take an ass kicking. No, I like the character, and there are parallels between myself and Vendetta. Her thing is that as long as she's confident in herself, she's got like super fighting powers, and she uses the Eskrima sticks, and she's able to she has great potential and everything, but it's just as long as she stays confident in herself. And that's kind of something I struggle with a bit, like the confidence issue. I mean, everyone does, I think, to a certain extent. But it was just being able to play a character, and not only just like a superhero character, but also playing one. I had been conditioned by like the Christopher Nolan versions of like Batman, and then everything getting so dark and so intense and everything, which is great. It's nice. Don't get me wrong. It's awesome stuff. But I love the fact that that is so not what this is.
Yes.
It is. It's more akin to like the Adam West Batman and everything, and I'm just like, I love that. I love it whenever you can be a part of something that's really fun, really great, but also doesn't take itself too seriously.
Yeah, my personal opinion when I think of things like the Christopher Nolan Batman movies is like it makes me think about like, I like dark entertainment, but also like let's not ruin like what comic books are. I guess comic books can be anything, but I feel like adults ruin a lot of shit, right? And it's just like this is supposed to be fun. Like, this is an escape from the world. I don't want to engage. I mean, sometimes we watch movies that are sad stories and we need to engage with these things,
Right.
But if I'm watching Batman, I don't want to feel miserable watching Batman. This is Batman.
Yeah.
But hey, again, that's just my personal take on it. How do you feel about this, Jocelyn?
I mean, personally, I always like drift more towards the darker like stories and everything like that. But like, I'm sorry, but I'm still a kid at heart. I want to have fun with this.
Yeah.
And like being a campy bad like baddie, it brings me joy in a way that nothing else can. Because I mean, come on, like just like the voices over the top. I literally in one of the episodes, I brought along my little brother, and I totally left him to get his butt kicked by her, and he was like, "I knew it." After we got done shooting, he was like, "I knew you were just gonna leave me," and I was like, "Yup." And we just had to like, it was just a fun like time because like I really love the fact that like basically with this kind of stuff, everybody here is like family a little bit. Like I gotten to know her, like we're friends on Facebook and everything, and like all the other characters that I've gotten a chance to meet, like it's more of like a family fun thing, while we also get to be very empowered for one and fun for two, which we don't normally get to do in the real world because we've got real world shit and real world problems, and not everybody wants to be a grown up. Okay. I think that it's very unfair that like I was born so that now I have to pay bills.
Yeah.